Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And it's the morning after the second weekend. And the Marvels had a historic drop-off at the box office. In fact, it dropped off more than Morbius. And it is one of the biggest drops. It might be the biggest drop ever for a superhero movie.
They have hit two worst records for the MCU. The worst opening and the worst drop-off.
Yeah, and to have a second weekend drop-off worse than Morbius. I mean, that's pretty damn bad. We're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about the media, the friendly media's feeble attempts to explain why this happened, other than the obvious that nobody's interested in this movie.
And I think that people didn't know the characters were.
Yeah, there's so many things. And look, Marvel has been damaged. I think Marvel, personally, the Marvel brand, at least the MCU, has been damaged beyond repair. Now, Spider-Man movies are still doing good. I think you might get some, movies outside of the MCU, but the MCU, I think, has been obliterated. Like, Disney's going to have to, God, look at all these ads. Disney's going to have to start over again, I think. And I don't even think Secret Wars, I think at this point, people are even going to check out from that. They're going to be like, yeah, I don't care about the multiverse crap.
Well, Secret Invasion didn't do well.
No. So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. Guys, you get woo-woo if you do.
Woohoo!
Go out to shopclownfish.com. You have 2 days yet to secure a copy of Shadowbinders Volume 3. We're well over the funding goal for this one. This is a hardcover. This is the first new Shadowbinders content in almost 10 years. And this is going to be shipping next summer. You can also pick up books 1 and 2 if you haven't done so already. Super excited to bring that to you. So thank you very much for the support.
Yep, thank you.
So I guess we'll talk about that, and we'll talk about the excuses, and then we're going to talk about what could have been. Maybe this would have helped them for Disney to put a chick in Captain Marvel, make her gay and make it lame.
Yeah, right.
Apparently, they hinted at Valkyrie and Carol having a relationship. And, Aunt Carol indeed, right? So let's talk about this first. This is coming from Screen Rant. The Marvels collapses at the box office with record-breaking second weekend drop that's worse than Morbius.
Yeah. Morbius was what, 74%? And this was like 79?
Yeah. Now people are going to be like, well, it made more money than Morbius, so it's, whatever.
This film cost, after you take away the 55 million credit they got, it's still about 218 million. 220 million is how much it cost with the credit, at the $55 million credit.
Yeah.
It's got to make at least probably 450, 500 million just to break even. I'm saying probably more than that because the marketing, they have spent a lot of money on marketing this thing. And it's not even going to probably make much money until it hits like 600 million plus, maybe higher. And they're like, hot damn. In like 2 weeks, we've, done globally like 140 or 60 million globally total.
Yeah, they're saying that it will be lucky to do 225 globally. And this movie cost almost $300 million to make. So
before
this is
the credit, yeah.
Yeah, this is bad. This is the worst weekend 2 drop for a comic book. Okay, so for a comic book movie, this is the worst second weekend drop. Even more than the 74% slump earned by the notorious Sony outing Morbius.
That would imply that it was worse than The Flash, too.
Yes, The Flash I had a pretty big drop off. I think it was in the 60s. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it wasn't as bad. It wasn't as bad as Captain Marvel. Though this box office result is grim, the Marvel's release comes... Okay. Here come the excuses. The Marvel's release comes at a time when the MCU is already experiencing diminishing returns, both critically and commercially.
Well, it has been experiencing diminishing returns.
Because the movies suck.
Except for Guardians. And
people, they were invested. And Guardians was kind of detached from the rest of the MCU to some degree. But they said, yeah, Guardians 3 had a solid performance at the box office, but Ant-Man and the Wasp did not. That had a slump of 69%. Following its considerably more solid opening weekend gross of $106 million. And Ant-Man 3 went down as being a huge failure.
Right, and this is worse.
This is worse.
I'm sorry, you can sit there and try to spin it all you want. And then the other excuse, it's because the strikes, they couldn't go out and promote it.
We're going to talk about that because there's a writer out there for CBR trying to say that's what happened. It's like, no, if anything, Brie Larson shutting her mouth probably helped put more butts in seats than would have been in there originally. Most people don't pay any attention to these press junkets. They really don't. It's a big circle jerk for Hollywood.
And usually it's just the takeaways are, here's the news we have on the next movies they're doing, not the current one.
Yeah, yeah. But she did say a couple things. She said that they're still going to use Carol Danvers in the future. Probably in Secret War is probably the next time we'll see her, or another season of Ms. Marvel or whatever. But yeah, I mean, this is ridiculous. They're trying to make excuses. Let's go to this article. This is actually what kicked off the video. You sent this to me earlier. And this guy, this Josh Patton, writes for a bunch of different publications, I think. And he's always contrary. Like, I think that's his thing. I think it's for clicks. I can't believe anybody is this willfully ignorant.
Well, no, he's like trying to use it to leverage to win brownie points with SAG. He's like, it proves that the SAG actor's right. That it's because the actors weren't promoting it.
Nobody else
do well.
Nobody else is saying that. I mean, they're trying to say it on these blogs or whatever, but like you go out to the trades and they're basically like, no, the MCU is fucked. It's screwed because Marvel has destroyed itself. Disney has destroyed it. It's become a parody. It's become a laughing stock. It's on freaking South Park. It's become a running joke.
And the people are like laughing, at Disney with South Park.
Yeah.
You done lost. And the thing is, yes, they're trying to say it's because, it just proves that the actors worked because without them, they didn't do well with. I'm like, meanwhile, other films released, and I mean, the Hunger Games didn't do great either, but it was promoting the whole time. They got special permission to promote, and the actors were out there promoting that one, still did shit. So what's your excuse for that?
Yeah, the Hunger Games actually came in under the Marvels by a couple million, but there are a couple things going on here. One, does anybody really care about the Hunger Games anymore?
Two, Rachel Zegler.
And three, it cost a third as much as the Marvels.
Right.
So it didn't have to make as much.
By the argument that actors, and they need to be out there promoting, and actors worth bring it to the movie, then they were out there actively promoting for the Hunger Games. They still underperformed compared to the Marvels. And that's saying something. Marvel's was dog shit, and they were underneath that. And that was their opening weekend.
So, according to this writer on CBR, most of the criticism ignores the economic reality facing audiences and the actors' inability to promote the movie.
Again, they promoted the Hunger Games.
Yeah.
Your theory, here's my shotgun.
This is
Boom.
so stupid. The Marvel's box office performance doesn't prove the MCU is dead. It proves actors are integral to keeping enthusiasm alive.
Brie Larson is not integral to keeping MCU enthusiasm alive. I would argue the opposite.
No, yeah, actually, what damaged Captain Marvel last time, I mean, it still did a lot of money because people thought, I need to watch this to understand what's going on with Endgame. But she destroyed her own brand by running at the mouth during interviews, just like Rachel Zegler. Rachel Zegler's out there running at the mouth.
Then I could argue to counter his point that people didn't really care about Captain Marvel. They only went because they thought they had to, because when Captain Marvel has to stand on its own or her own, she doesn't do so.
Yeah.
And it still took two other people with her and they still didn't bring it. And, I don't know what to tell you.
I think what is partially going on, and now I think this guy's a contrarian. You've sent me his articles before. I think he just goes out of his way to take whatever the 180 stance
He's gotten
is.
Pissed at me on Twitter before.
Oh, you've gotten into it?
Yeah, he's tried to get into it with me. He tried to argue about something. He's like, well, I don't have it listed as news. It's more of like opinion.
Well,
and I'm like,
your opinion is wrong.
Your opinion is bullshit.
Your opinion is bullshit. And these are the same people that are like so desperate for news and so desperate to own the chuds that are eating their lunch that they went after Nerdrotics over the Miles Morales thing in an article. Not this guy in particular, but they were trying to set. I mean, and that's old. That was something that he said 2 years ago, 3 years ago.
Disney themselves market the toys as Miles Morales.
Yes, you go to
Spider-Man.
Go to any Walmart, go to any Target. Go to the action figure aisle, look at the Spider-Man toys, and you tell me which toys are called Spider-Man and which toys are called Miles Morales.
It's a branding issue.
It's a branding issue. Absolutely a branding issue. So yeah, he's basically saying that
because of social media and like the Barbenheimer, it did really well because and that's true. It did do well because of the social media Barbenheimer thing, 100%. But they're trying to say that actors not being able to promote. I'm like, no, this has nothing to do with Brie Larson not doing junkets.
I think part of it too is the press is thirsty for sound bites, viral video moments, because they're trying to justify their existence. If you don't have any, I mean, the strikes are going to destroy a lot of these entertainment websites because there's really nothing to talk about for months except the strikes.
They're thirsty because then they want something to drink so they can take a piss and say it's an article.
Right? Yeah.
They can piss on the audience and tell them it's, pee on their shoe and tell them it's raining.
That's okay. We've got ChatGPT. We don't need you. We don't need you anymore. And it will give us unbiased news.
Well, I'll just read what the news is.
It will regurgitate mostly unbiased news. But even ChatGPT is pretty biased too. People are finding out. But basically, there is a definite future, and it's in the very near future, where there will no longer be writers for CBR like there are now. There will no longer be video game journalists as we know them now working for Polygon, Kotaku, because a lot of these websites are going to fold. I actually think CBR is part of Valnet, and I think they're looking to sell it because it seems like they're getting the curbside appeal ready. They had a bunch of people leave because they're pissed off about the demands being placed on them by the chat to do more chat bot generated articles. And, you've got the owners like taking their picture in Times Square with the ticker and all that. And I'm like, no, this is curbside appeal. Mm-hmm. They're going to sell this shit. Mm-hmm. And Josh, you're not going to have a job. So of course you want these people out there talking about shit you can write about. But the reality is it's this era of nerd culture, this MCU, celebrity Dungeons and Dragons, Will Wheaton era of nerd culture is coming to an end, and with it, all the outlets that cover it. And that's just the way it is. One can hope, right? She says, Brie Larson says that there's more in store for Carol. Yay! Don't worry.
I thought the media was saying that she was quitting because of all the toxic male fans. I thought that's what they were saying before.
She said, does anybody want me? Well, I can tell you right now, Disney's going to look at it and be like, yeah, we're not doing any more standalone Captain Marvel
The answer to that question is no.
No.
No, they don't.
Yeah, she got really pissed. Somebody said, hey, are you coming back as Captain Marvel after this one? She's like, I don't know. Do people want me back? I don't know. And you got your answer. Like if this movie did $1 billion at the box office, that would be your answer. This movie failed miserably. I mean, it failed so much worse, so much harder than I thought it would. I never thought it would go as low as it did. Not for a Marvel movie.
Well, somebody else did because they said 45.
Yeah, and people laughed at him. Somebody
Who's
said,
laughing now?
Yeah,
that guy.
Somebody said it could go as low as 45. People roasted him. They laughed at him. They said there's no way a Marvel movie would do that bad opening weekend. And he said that's the low end. But he said, I'm thinking it's going to be around 55 to 60. But there's a possibility it could go as low as 45, and it went 47. So he was right. They'll say, no, he said 45. He's a liar. He's a liar just like Clownfish. So Larson confirms Captain Marvel will return to the MCU, but keeps mum on the specific project. Probably Secret Wars in like 2030.
Yeah, they keep pushing it back.
We'll talk about this. She said, there's so much more to explore with the character of Carol Danvers, and she's excited to continue her journey. We'll talk about something that got cut. Possible future appearances for Captain Marvel could include the Avengers movies and the Fantastic Four reboot, which would make sense. No, I don't.
None of it makes sense.
I don't. None of this makes sense. So, here's what we could have had. Maybe this would have helped him at the box office. Apparently, they cut a line out of the movie, and we haven't seen the movie. Squid King saw it. He said it was whatever. But they said that Captain Marvel and Valkyrie were explicitly together in the past. There was a line from Valkyrie saying, "We work better as friends."
For fuck's sake.
But Disney are cowards. I wonder if this was after South Park. I wonder if they were like,
put a chick in it, made her gay, made her lame.
Yes, right. Put 3 chicks in it, and make it 2 of them gay, maybe, possibly, and make it lame. So that was cut, probably to try to help its international appeal in China. But I was really surprised we didn't get side shave Carol Danvers in this movie. Because she had in the comics.
No, she's no longer with Valkyrie. It would have been when she was with Valkyrie.
When she was with Valkyrie, that was her exploratory. She was exploring black holes in space.
Yeah.
And
that's so not okay, but okay.
She was probing.
Yeah, she was. That's what she was doing, exploring black holes. Really?
you know what? I'm gonna leave it in. Fuck it.
Okay.
Anyway, so yeah, she was she was out probing the mysteries of the universe, you know. And yeah.
Don't know how to come back from that, do you?
I don't know how to come back from that one.
So yay, we didn't get that. I'm sorry. Oh, boo, we didn't get that one line because Disney's cowards. Like, no, because they were sending it to China and they were desperately trying to get the movie to stick. Yeah. And they couldn't put that in for China.
Yeah.
Still didn't work. China hated it too.
Yeah. So the director, they're saying the director said, we're already going to be accused of being woke, so let's leave it to a peck on the cheek. Too real. They should have kept it to make the relationship canon anyway.
Don't care.
Nobody cares because you know what? Marvel is getting a hard reset after this shit. You cannot underperform movie after movie after movie after movie like this and make headlines for a Marvel, an MCU movie being the worst second week drop off in comic book movie history.
I know, right?
There is no coming back from that. Like, there's got to be, like, I would love to be a fly on the wall at Marvel Studios at Disney right now and be like, what the hell went wrong? And the thing is, they all know the answer. They all know what went wrong. It's been years of things going wrong.
But I think that's funny because it's all the stuff people keep saying and telling them, and they could have righted the ship and they wouldn't listen.
No, because they wanted to own the chuds. They wanted to own the bigots.
You keep putting these people in charge of films who really shouldn't be put in charge of Marvel films.
Yeah, it's like you had to own the chuds.
Or shows too.
Had to own the bigots, and that's great. You didn't own the box office, did you? You have to answer to your shareholders now and be like, why are all the Marvel movies that were pretty much guaranteed $1 billion plus at the box office, why are they all failing miserably? Yeah, how do you answer that?
Yep.
Macroeconomic circumstances and
because of the SAG-AFTRA strikes
and the COVIDs and Hurricane Katrina.
And men suck.
And men suck.
They all were the majority that came to the movie.
Men were the majority. White men, in particular, were the majority audience for
this question, and I had the same thought. How do they know? I mean, like, how do they know what type of people, what like race you are and everything else? That was a good question. I have no answer for you because I thought the exact same thing. I'm like, how do you know?
Do you answer a survey when you come out and
then go by your credit card statement and the data that we mined about you.
According to the Facebook data we stole, this is what we know about you. Your social credit score is going to go down if you don't go see the Marvels, because you must really hate women. You hate gay women. You hate black women. You hate Muslim women.
You just hate women. You're racist. You suck. And you're a poo-poo duty head.
You're a poo-poo duty head if you don't go see this corporate product that we put out. But hey, I am really hoping Iman Vellani gets her ass out of the MCU and goes on to bigger, better things, because she seems to be the only bright spot.
I know, right?
So, I don't know. We're going to wrap this up.
Yes.
I think we're going to wrap this up. So please subscribe. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We'll talk later.
Bye.